Primacy is premises in a linked support chain. So premise 1, premise 2, premise 3, all of these premises combined together lead me to some conclusion. So the example that I made up was the following. It's not necessarily the greatest example, and it doesn't necessarily have to be true. It's just an example, again, right? I want this to be like boringly obvious. All rationalists are idealists. All idealists deny mind-independent reality. Therefore, all rationalists deny mind-independent reality. Pretty simple argument, right? All rationalists, we could debate about, I'm not going to debate about the truth falsity of that, but all rationalists are idealists. All idealists deny mind-independent reality. Therefore, all rationalists deny mind-independent reality. Obviously, I'm using rationalist in sort of the original sense. Okay, so that's a linked support argument. How does it look like? Well, some arbitrary statement 1, all rationalists are idealists, plus the idea, some arbitrary statement 2, all idealists deny mind-independent reality, leads me to the conclusion. Well, what's the conclusion? Therefore, all rationalists deny mind-independent reality. All right, pretty basic. I don't think there's really nothing else to say about that. The next point that I want to talk about is this following concept known as enthymemes. Enthymemes are it's very, very important when you're beginning your journey, right? And this is what I love. It's at this moment that it just hits me why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? The next generation of philosophers being trained on philosophical thought. I really hope that it's not just students, high school or not college students that are watching this, but it would be cool, if you're in high school or maybe a ninth grader, you stumble across these videos, you start watching these lectures, and then you decide, hey, I want to do some philosophy or whatever. Oh my goodness, can you imagine the minds of the next generation if they get attuned to these ideas at 15, 16 years old? It's ridiculous. I mean, I didn't get into philosophy until I was like 20 something odd. I forget. I'm old now. But when I was 20 something odd, and it was, it changed my life. I love this stuff. I cannot get enough of philosophy. I'm completely addicted to it. One of the cool concepts in philosophy is the idea of enthymemes, right? Once you first start, you really want to get your arguments out. You want to start thinking hard. You want to start critiquing. You want to start showing people that you can make sense of the world and complicated stuff. But this trips up a lot of people, right? So let me just let you know now what the trip up is, and I'll give you a few examples. So first, what is an enthymeme? It is a syllogism in which one of the premises is missing or implicit, meaning not stated directly, right? So it's an argument where I'm missing a line of reasoning. Right? I'm trying to arrive at a conclusion. Obviously, it's going to be a link-supported argument, right? So I'm trying to arrive at a conclusion, and I need multiple lines of reasoning to arrive at that conclusion. And just typically it's because of inexperience, right? It's typically, you'll find this error typically, because that's why I thought of, people introduced to philosophy for the first time, because it's a newcomer mistake for the most part. Unless you're so dense into your own argument and you've been doing it for so long at an advanced level that, you just lose track of exactly where it is that you're trying to go. But for the most part, you don't see very many, sort of higher functioning arguments getting tripped up in this error, unless they're doing it for sort of a rhetorical strategy. So it's a missing premise. Now, all of that's well and good. You learn by doing, so let me show you what the argument is, right? So here's an example of an enthymeme. Right underneath, the following quote is this. If it rains outside, and this is a quote, an argument that I structured myself in my original, what started this whole sort of critical thinking, predicate logic, modal logic, epistemic logic, all of this began with that very first video on symbolic logic. I was like, I want to do logic on YouTube. Granted, if I could do it again, I wouldn't use such a poor camera. The quality is crap, but the content's really good. Okay, so if it rains outside, and again, for those of you, this is going to be supremely obvious, I went deep the last two sections. I want to start slow, and then we'll get deep. We'll have tons of time to get deep. If it rains outside, I'll bring my umbrella. So if it's raining outside, I'm going to bring my umbrella. Duh. Okay. Therefore, if it's raining outside, I won't get wet. Right? So the idea is, if it's raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. Okay, that makes sense. And then you jump to the conclusion that, well, if I bring my umbrella, I won't get wet. And the reason why I underlined wet is because you need a premise that connects wet and umbrella, right? You can't just say if it's, I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with what you're saying, right? It's not what you're saying is false. What you're saying, however, the syllogism that you've constructed is an enthemy. This actually answers a question that I got a couple days ago. Yeah, this actually, I forget the dude's name on Facebook. He hit me up on Facebook and he asked me about syllogisms. And somebody was giving, this is totally off topic, but somebody was giving a hard time about, you know, there's always these pretentious people and I can't stand them, right? Where it's like, the proper way to talk about syllogisms is to talk about it like this, right? And at least that's the impression I got. And I told him, I was like, dude, don't even worry about that crap. You know what I mean? Just have fun doing logic. It's not about all of that. You know, it's not about that. And he wanted to know, basically, could you have a syllogism where it was just like an if-then, one conditional statement? And I was like, absolutely. You could have a conditional, you could have a syllogism in which it's just one conditional statement. It's not like a hypothetical syllogism. And this is a perfect example. An enthymeme is exactly that. It is a syllogism. One of the conditionals, the connective actually, be, is missing from the argument. It's implicit, which is proof positive that you can have a syllogism. This is a total side note. I'm actually doing this bit just for this one person. He might not even watch this part of the video, but I'll try and find his name again and send him a message on Facebook, tell him that I addressed his concerns. But yes, all right. So you're missing a connective between wet and umbrella. So what does the full argument look like? The full argument looks like the following, right? If it is raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. Right? If it is raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. So, yeah, the full argument. If it is raining outside, then I'll bring my umbrella. If I bring my umbrella, then I won't get wet. Therefore, 3 dots equals therefore in a triangle. Therefore, if it's raining outside, I won't get wet. If it's raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. If I bring my umbrella, I won't get wet. Therefore, if it's raining outside, I won't get wet. What we missed in the last, or in the enthymeme, is we missed the connective, right? If it is raining outside, I have that. If it is raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. Right? If it's raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. If I bring my umbrella, I won't get wet. If it's raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. But then I just jump right to the conclusion. Therefore, if it is raining outside, I won't get wet. Alright, so to answer that guy's question, forget it, he has a black and white photo, I forget his name. But if it is raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. If I bring my umbrella, I won't get wet. Therefore, if it's raining inside, I won't get wet. If it is raining outside, I'll bring my umbrella. Therefore, if it is raining outside, I won't get wet. The question is, where did the C come from? I have to connect the C to this A, obviously. What way do I connect C? This is like super ghetto style, right? But this is how you do it. What way do I go about connecting C to A? I connect C to B, right? You can work your way backwards, right? You could say, well, here's C, and then I need to connect it to B, and then B is connected to A, so I'm moving in this direction, right? I need to connect, and then I need to connect C to B, right? Then I need to connect B to A, and therefore I can then say A to B, B to C, and so on, and that looks crazy. But you get the idea. I mean, it should be boring. If it is boring, then I'm doing my job, because then you understand. Boredom is good. Boredom is a good thing. That's when all the knowledge takes place. Alright, so pretty simple. So an enthymeme is a syllogism in which it is, by definition, a syllogism in which one premise is missing or implicit. So yes. Next, premise clusters. Alright, any group of mutually linked premises, including any single supported premise. So if I have a single support premise, this is my premise cluster, right? And if I have a multiple linked supported premise, then that's my premise cluster, where S stands for any arbitrary statement, right? Single supported premise